Do you need a monthly calendar checklist? In today's video, I'm going to show you how to build this from scratch, and this allows you to quickly and easily add a new month, add your to-do list, check off the items when they're complete, and then see your progress update dynamically. All right, so let's jump right in. So what we're going to start with is just setting up our basic format. So let's go ahead and get started on that. So what we're going to do is the days of the week across. And so let me go ahead and put one in here, Sunday. But we're going to make a couple of columns for each day. And so we'll go ahead and do like this. We'll do 20 on this side, maybe 30 on this side for the number. And then we'll make this just a little bit bigger. And again, you can adjust these as you like. So that will be for Sunday. And then we can copy and paste this across. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Let's put that again. Tuesday. All right, and then let's go ahead and get the rest of these days in here. And then we'll go ahead and make this one 20 width and then get rid of these last couple. All right, so let's go ahead and just set our date here for the top. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. And then I'm just gonna do, let's just do November for now. And then set our formatting. So what I want to do here is set it with a month and date. So we'll go custom. And let's go ahead and just delete these out of here and then change this to a full month there. And then add the year. And then let's see if we can put a space in there, just like that. And so now it should show up November. So let's center this. And then let's add our formatting here. So we can go something like that. There we go. And then let's do some formatting on these. Just like that. All right. So now let's go ahead and start pulling in our days. And so on a month, the first day of the month could start on any of these days. And so we need to set it up so we can determine where it falls, because we want to be able to basically edit this for whatever month we're in by just clicking and selecting. And so with that, this will potentially be different each time. So the way we're going to do that is on this first week, we just have to determine where that first day falls in and then where the rest will fall in as well. And so let's go ahead and do this. So you can grab this date by just doing equals to that. And so there's our November 1st. And then we just need to put this together. So what we do here to get the first one is weekday E2 plus 1. And so this is coming up with October. Let's see if we can get the day there. Should be here. And then we're going to do just the day. So 27 is October 27 is what's going on here. So we need to determine if this is the prior or the current month. And so let's go ahead and do an if statement. So if month equals to month B2, actually let's do the reverse of this. So if it's not equal to, then we're going to do 2 commas, meaning we're going to display nothing. So we could put a double quotes there, but you can leave it blank as well. And then if it is the current month, then we're going to do that. So at this point, it's going to be blank, which is fine. And then we're going to basically copy and paste this. and then change this to 2, 3, and so forth. And there's our first one there. And then let's get this one, which will be 7. So let's go ahead and make sure we get all these set to that day format. And it should be selected there. So pop that in, and there we go. So there's the 1st and 2nd of November. We change this to December, then we should be Sunday. So you can see there, it starts there. If we go to January, it should start on Wednesday, and there we go. So that's how we get the 1st of the month for the first week in there. And then we can go down and get the rest of the weeks. But first of all, let's figure out how we want to set up our first week, and then we'll kind of take that format as we go down through. So let's just go to December so we have a full week, so it's a little easier to build this out. And so what we're going to do here is add some checkboxes. That's why I left this one open. And then we had this one as a column so that we could get our date in there. Now we're going to do stuff like a little chart here to show our progress. So we can merge this. We're going to take we're going to give us a little bit of space around this. So let's go ahead and do this. 10. And maybe change these to 15, something like that. And then let's go ahead and merge these. So there's our dates. We can probably change this format a little bit too. And then let's actually set the background on this. And the font color. We'll just change this all to white probably, just like that. So we can kind of toggle real quick, see what that's going to look like. And then we'll just keep going. So we'll keep this grid lines in place while we're building this out, and then we'll go from there. So we can do maybe 7 rows for the checkboxes. All goes down to here. So I'm going to go ahead and insert checkbox, decrease those in size a little bit. And then we'll build out our box here. So this will give us our day. And then we can merge these crossed, so horizontally. And then we can add a little bit lighter and a dashed line in between. So now if we look at this, it gives us a little spot to enter our stuff. That looks good there. Let's toggle back. So now we're going to take a couple other things. So let's go ahead and merge this one. And then what we're going to do is if D4 is blank, we'll show nothing. Otherwise, I copy and pasted. I have this check mark just to show us that check mark there. Bold that real quick. And then what we want to do is add a little progress here. And so this is why we give ourselves a little room. So in here, we're again going to do if D4 is equal to blank. We'll do nothing. Otherwise, we're going to use this sparkline to create ourselves a little chart. And so what we need to do in the sparkline, so sparkline, you can just add data like this, but we don't have that available because this isn't numeric. So we need to create ourselves a little thing here. And so what we're going to do is a little bar chart. And all we need for the bar chart is 2 data points. So the first part of the line and the second part of the line. So the first part of the line is going to be however many are checked. So we can do that by doing countif and determine how many of these are true. And then so for this one, we'll just do whatever is not true. And that will give us our remainder. And now we can do our chart type is bar and see how that works. Let's see if we got everything in here correctly. There we go. All right, now if I check more, you can see that that progresses. Now this is orange and blue, so maybe I'll change these colors. And so what I can do here is a semicolon and do color 1 is, if I can get this syntax correctly, green, and then color 2, and let's do maybe something like gray. And there we go. Now if we check more, we can see that that fills in. So that looks great. And now we just need to copy this across. Let's go ahead and make, actually one more thing. Let's do a percentage on this as well. So again, we'll do if d4 is equal to blank, we'll do nothing. Otherwise, we're going to do a percentage. So countif, and this will be true. Now this one we'll want to do divided by the total number of checkboxes, and that will give us our percent. Now this is a decimal, so we'll need to format that, and then we'll center this and center that there, and then set that font there like that. So we can determine how small we want that, and then we can probably get rid of that decimal and just do something like that. So now let's go ahead and check out our look again. Now we're looking pretty good. So maybe we're going to adjust this down just a little bit, and bump this up just a little bit. Let's go ahead and first of all, copy this format across, and then we'll copy these. Just like that. Now we're having this div error because we don't have anything down below. And so it's actually just, we can actually just copy and paste this whole thing here. And there we go. Now let's finish our formatting real quick. Set this back to black and put that around. And then let's go ahead and do it around these as well. Perfect. So now we can go ahead and start creating the rest of our weeks. So I'm going to copy this down here. Now we don't want the same thing here. So what we're going to do is actually a little bit simpler. We're just going to take an equals, take that last one and add 1. And so that'll give us 8. And then we can just do this plus 1, not plus, exclamation, plus 1. There we go. And then I'm just going to copy and paste that formula across. All right. And now this one should be good to go to copy the rest of the way down. So we'll do this one, and so we're almost there. So there's about 4 weeks in a month. And I know that sounds funny to say there's about 4 weeks. But when we look at this, we go to November, for example, you can see in our slot, we're not using very much of this first week. So we'll actually need more than 4 weeks to compensate for all this. So let's just go to December for now. So we have week 1 here, right? Week 2, week 3, and week 4. But you can see we obviously need week 5. And then we'll have our next month in here now. So one thing with this, and you may think this is all that we need, but let's cycle through. Let's find a month with 31. So it was close. This will be close enough to demonstrate. So here we start over here. And then if we scroll down, here's our final week that we have. You can see we actually only get to 29. And so what we need here is actually just 2 more days. So this month has 30 days. So the most there could be is 31. And so we could do a full another week here, but we're never going to use any of these. So I'm just going to drop these 2 here. And there you can see there's that 30 and there's that 1. And then what we're going to do on this one is, since we could potentially be back here, if we go to, let's say this one. So our first row is correctly determining what month we're in. But when we get down to the bottom, now we're still including that month. So let me go ahead and set some of this real quick. All right, so now let's go ahead and delete the rest of our rows here. And I'm going to go ahead and just call this calendar real quick, or you could call this the actual month name. And so one thing before I go any further is, when you got this filled in, you can actually, instead of having to clear it out each month, you could keep a blank copy of this and then just duplicate it for each new month. And so let's say then you're going to August. And so then you can call this one July, and this one August. Maybe you can put the year in there. And as you go forward, you could always have a clean copy for each month. Let's go ahead and finish up this one here. So next, I want to do something with the last of the month here. And so I'm just going to start here, and we're going to do a little bit of logic again. And so we're just going to start with if B34 is equal to blank, and if month is not equal to month, and we'll do that B2 at the beginning, then we'll do nothing, otherwise V34 plus 1. Let's see what I did here. Oh, I put a extra thing there. All right, so there's 28. And then let's copy and paste this to here. So D44, D44, and D44. There we go. And now I'm just going to copy and paste this formula across. And there we go. Now that goes blank. And then I can copy this one again and come down here. And copy this one again and come down here. So now that gets rid of the day and our sparkline and our checkbox and our percentage, but it doesn't do anything to this part. So that's what we're going to approach next. And so all we're going to do here, and let me grab one where most of them are like this one. And so let's just gray out this part down here. So I'm just going to go through one by one on these boxes and do that. And then I'm going to come down here and do the same thing down here. So conditional formatting, and I have just this selected. And then let's go ahead and just grayed out something like this. And then what I'm going to do here is custom formula, and I'm going to lock these with these $signs. I'm going to do D4 is blank. And so it looks like I need to go maybe one darker, whatever color I made that. There we go. So I'm going to do the one over the green. And so that will do that. And so I'm going to go through and do the rest of these. All right, so I got those all applied. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bring in holidays, and then I'm going to highlight the current day. So we're currently in November, and so I'll highlight today. And then the last thing I'm going to do before we sign off is I'm going to show you actually how to use a list of events and populate them directly in these cells automatically. So let's go ahead and start with the holidays. I'm going to create a new tab, call this holidays, and I'm just going to paste a list in here so you don't have to watch me sit here and type them all out. And so you can determine what holidays you want to put here, if you have specific ones you do or do not. And so these are just some US public holidays that I put in here. All right, so how do we match if it matches those? So we have one here, for example, that we should see, actually two in November. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to do a little match. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select my table, and then we're going to play around with this until we get the right results down to here. So we're going to do format, conditional formatting, and then let's go ahead and check where we're at. So it should be 11 should be highlighted. And so I'm going to add a rule here. And let's just make it maybe darker. We'll play around with that once we get it settled. So what we're going to do here is another custom formula, and we're going to do a match. And so we're going to match, and we'll just start with B4. And we're going to do an indirect formula to actually pull back those holidays. And so you can see there, we've matched that one, but I want to match the whole thing. So we're going to do a little bit of playing around with this. So we got that one in there. And then we're going to make a copy. And then basically what we're going to do is play around with the placement of this. So if I change this reference, you can see it just popped over and highlighted that one. So let's actually go the other way. So if we go to C, then you can see it's highlighting that one. So I'm just going to run this around, make some copies of this rule until we get everything highlighted that we want to. So there we go. And make another copy. And so we need to go, let's say back to C, but then maybe down. So would that be up? There we go. So you can see it's kind of reverse of what you would think if you ever played the games where everything's in mirrored. And so again, this one probably be C2 then. And there you go. So now you can see we just reverse highlighted, and the other one was 1128. And so let's scroll down and see if that one got highlighted. And sure enough, it did. And all the right ones got highlighted there. All right, so that is the holidays. And then we're going to do the same thing for today. And so I can basically just take these rules and we're going to match them to today then instead. So I'll just take one of these, I think, and add another rule. And then we're going to do is B4 equal to today. And so today is the 7th as of when I'm recording this. And so you can see there it's highlighting. So this one I'm probably going to make a different color. So maybe we'll make this green or something. Just like that. And then I'm going to copy and paste this one to get it to work just like I did before. All right, so now we have today highlighted just like that. All right, so the only thing left that I'm going to do here is show you how to add a all events. And so this would work for multiple months. And so all we need here is just something very simple, date and description. And then let me get rid of the rest of these. And I'm just going to kind of show you how to incorporate this if you want to use this. So we can set this however we want here. And then I'm going to set this to the same width. I think we had, maybe I'll resize this a little bit down from 150. There we go. And then here, I'm going to make this date where you can double click to select it. So I'm going to select that, do drop down, and then change this to is valid date. And then let's just pick a date that we have. So maybe November 7th. And then we can just do test. And let's do another one here as well. And then let's see what that would look like. So all we need to do then is put a little formula in here called filter. And then we just take this column B, where column A is equal to that date. And so you can see right there, it pops up and shows up correctly. So all we'd have to do then, if we wanted to use this for multiple, is just lock these columns on the All Events tab. And notice I'm not locking this one. And then all I gotta do is copy, and then I can paste this formula only everywhere I want. Just add it here as well. And one thing, it does show up NA if it doesn't find anything. So I'm gonna do a little modification here and say if error, and then copy this again. So there we go. Now we have this 11.9. If we add an event, it should show up. And there we go, just like that. So here's the only thing to keep in mind, maybe not the only thing, but the major thing to keep in mind with this as you're using it is, let me add these all to 11.7. So you can see we have multiple events there. So normally, you could go around your day and check these off. All right, so let's rewind to this real quick. So one thing with this is when you add events this way, if you come back, so these are checked off now, right? So if you come back and insert another one, what will happen is it'll check that one off. And so that's the only thing to keep in mind, is if you're going through and checking off things, and then another event gets added on that day. Now, it won't matter if it gets added at the end down here, because then it'll show up down here. So it's only if it's getting inserted above the other ones for that day, or if you added some kind of sort on this formula. But just like this, then that will work like that. So as long as you either add new events at the bottom and just keep that in mind, then this will work well for you. All right, so that is it for today's video. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can get a better view of this. And you can do some other things here as well if you want to add some larger borders. If you like that look, you could add that on that side, for example. And then we'll do a little bit of finagling down here to make this work. And get just a little bit thicker border on the outside. Make sure to check out the other videos on our channel for more tutorials on both Google Sheets and AppScript. And as always, have a great day.